Archives of Prasar Bharati presents the timeless treasure of golden era.
We welcome you to our program. Welcome to Studio One.
You have climbed a lot, Satya. Why climbing? You could have been a cricketer, you could have played badminton. I'm told you played very good badminton when you were young. You could have pursued, you could have become the next Prakash Padkone or Pullela Gopichan for all you know, but you chose to climb. Why climbing, Satya?
Well, climbing, in a way you can say the climbing bug or the mountains hit me very hard when I was 4 years old. And my dad took me up on a small little hill in Nainital, which is called China Peak. If you haven't been there, then please go. It's a nice place. And when we climbed this small peak, but I was tiny, I was 4 years old, so of course for me it looked really big and a very difficult hike. But we reached on the top early in the morning, and the sun was just rising at that time. It was maybe 5:30 in the morning. And in the horizon it was covered with really big, huge Himalayan peaks covered with ice. And my dad pointed at that direction of the mountains and told me that this is the Great Himalaya. It's the mightiest mountain range in the world, and it's a part of our heritage and culture. Now, when I saw this, the sun, just imagine the setting, the sun was rising, the golden ray, the orange ray of the sun was falling on this white mountain peak. And to me it looked exactly as if somebody was pouring liquid gold from the top, maybe God, I don't know. I mean, as a 4 years old, you don't really think of God or anything. But I felt that what I was watching was something beyond human, that this cannot be man-made. This is way beyond our understanding of science or whatever. At 4 years old, you are very impressionable. You are trying to absorb everything that is happening around you. And the most profound, the most impactful memory of my entire life, I am 51 today, is that view that I saw when I was 4 years old. Those 10-15 minutes of experience that I have, to me it is as real as I am seeing all of you today. I can still go back when I was 4 years old, and I realized that something was happening inside me. There's a huge magnetic pull. Something was pulling me towards this very mysterious mountains which was like liquid gold. And I told my dad at that time, he was much taller than me, of course. I looked up and I told him that one day I'll be climbing these peaks. So like a typical dad, he patted my head. He said, yeah, I know, of course you will. And let's now get back, because it was getting really cold. But when I came back to the normal sea level, normal life, I could not sleep. I could not rest. I did not want to do anything else. I wanted to go back there, because I felt that there was a big part of me which was there. I am not complete, in my house, normal house with my parents. And I kept on pestering my dad, really making his life miserable, that I want to go there, and please. He said, like, what are you talking about? You're just a 4-year-old kid. How can you go to those mountains? And who will take you there anyways? I said, I don't know. I don't care. I want to go. Because it was my desire. Something was really calling me from inside. So eventually one of his friends who agreed, but he said you have to be a little older. At least you have to get into double digits of your age. So when I reached 10, I went to him. I said, you promised me double digit the day I reached. And I was 10. But as Raj mentioned, by that time I had also started playing badminton at a very high level. I started playing badminton when I was 8 years old, and I was good, really good. But badminton was something that I really played at the national level. I played for the country as well. But it was not something which I felt from inside that this was my calling or this was the purpose of my life. I felt it was in the mountains, and I really had to go there and discover this. And what is this? What is this mysterious thing which is calling me? So this uncle of mine, he could not, escape, because he had promised me when you reach double digit, because he thought that I'll forget, or a child has asked for something, but after few years, few months, he'll stop asking for it. But I couldn't, and from 4 years to 10 years, the 6 years, I was not going to school. I was like really doing miserably well in the classes, literally getting zeros, because I couldn't focus on anything. Thankfully, my mom was always with me. She said, fine, results don't matter, marks what you get don't matter, but I was really getting solid beating from my dad all the time. That's besides the point. So I went to this uncle of mine. I said, look, I'm double digit now, so when will you take me? And he said, like, you are really serious? I said, yes, I'm serious. And I'm not going to leave till you take me. So when I was 10 years old, he had to find, or I think maybe he made a small ice axe for me. A special boot had to be created for me because it was tiny and small. And I went with him and his team. And he was absolutely sure that I will not be able to reach the mountain or the glacier. I will fall off somewhere, or I'll tell him that it's too difficult, it's too cold, it's too miserable. But I didn't, because I had this sense of discovery that I want to find out about me and about the mountains. And what is this connection? So after several days, and I still remember the glacier I went, it was called Kolahoy Glacier, it's in Kashmir. And we were going to climb this mountain called Mount Kolahoy, which is a very technically challenging climb. Not very high, according to my standards, it's just about 5,700 meters high. So according to us, it's not a high mountain. But for a 10-year-old boy, definitely it was like huge. Now I'm going to share this experience with you, that after about 4 or 5 days of walking, when we reached the glacier, and I saw this massive river of ice coming towards me, and I'm going towards it. And this uncle of mine said, look, that is the glacier and that is the peak that we are going to climb. And I said, wow, this is something. As I approached and reached the glacier, that means real ice, and when I put my first step on that ice, what happened? The ice broke beneath my boots, beneath my feet. So I heard this sound, cracking of the ice. And it was really like a thunderbolt or like an electricity shock which passed through my leg, through my body, through my heart and through my head, and it went somewhere. And at that point of my life, I realized that I was born to climb. This was the purpose of my life. When I was 10 years old, I discovered it in the mountains. I realized that no matter what else I will be doing for the rest of my life, I would always be climbing because I was born to climb. This was the reason why I was gifted the gift of life. That's it, Raj. After that, I never looked back. So it has been almost 41 years now. That's all I am doing.
So a good part of 41 years you've been climbing, Satya, and I know you've done lots of 8,000 meter peaks, 8,000 plus, which is now the real height for someone like you.
Yes.
Have climbed all the 7 summits, as it's called, the highest peaks in each continent.
Yes.
And maybe the second highest in several of the continents too.
Yes.
Some 300 peaks you've got, traveled to 160 plus nations,
Yes.
walked the length and breadth of Africa, walked the Silk Route. You've done a lot, Satya. But is climbing a different act completely to all the other adventures that you do? Would you put climbing higher than, let's say, walking the length of Africa?
No, when I'm saying climbing, I'm using the word more as a metaphorically. Like I'm saying, I always say that all of us are climbers. You're also climbing something. Climbing your career, climbing your academic career, whatever it is. We all are basically climbers. We all are born climbers. So when I'm saying climbing, and I said that the purpose of my life or the reason I was born was to climb, it's not necessarily just to climb vertically up on some mountain. What I basically means that climbing becomes your life. What are you doing? If somebody asks you, what are you doing? What will you say? I go to the college, I go to a job, or will you say, I'm living my life or I'm climbing? So when somebody says, what do you do? Of course, my standard answer is that my full-time job is to enjoy life and travel the world. That really is my occupation. But when they say, what are you doing? I'll say, I'm climbing. But I don't mean that it's only in vertical phase. What I'm basically meaning is that this sense of curiosity, sense of discovering something which you have never seen before, which perhaps nobody has seen before. Because this is the only human trait or the trait that human species have, which has made us the superior race or species in this whole world is our sense of curiosity, that we want to know more, we want to discover. And read in the history, Vasco da Gama, Columbus, Einstein, whatever. If we did not have this sense of curiosity and trying to find out what was not known before, we would be like cows and buffaloes still staying in the caves, wherever, I am sure of that. Because somebody thought that I want to go beyond this ocean, then somebody discovered boats and ships. Somebody said I want to climb this mountain, then they climbed and they discovered more amazing lands beyond. So what really drives me around the world is not necessarily the vertical thing that I'm going to do, it's my sense of curiosity. But because I have this impossible dream in my life to climb all the mountains in the world, which is impossible, nobody can do that, this will keep me motivated and moving all my life. So the reason why have I visited 168 countries in the world? Why have I walked across Africa? Why did I go through Silk Route? Why have I, done all the so-called stupid and crazy things?
Why?
It was my sense of curiosity that I want to discover the world, and in discovering the world, I am going to discover myself. Because what are you really doing? Are you climbing a mountain, or you are climbing within yourself to discover yourself? Because I think we all must try to discover ourselves. And how will you discover yourself if you don't go out and discover the world? How will you do it? It cannot be done. Because you have to challenge yourself, you have to risk your life, you have to really get out of the comfort zone, you have to get off your chairs and switch off your mobile phones and your laptops and find yourself. Because you don't live in Facebook, believe me, although you might think that you live in Facebook, but you don't.
Satya, one of your blog posts, the blog that you have titled See You at the Top, satyabratadam.blogspot.com, there are several posts about death. And
Yes.
one of the posts is amazing. It says, "I should not be alive."
Yes, of course.
Can you just tell us a little story about why you think you should not be alive? And you've done such good work since that post. Why did you even say that you should not have been alive?
Well, this is a kind of a thing, because there might be not more than 100 or 200 climbers like me around the world, that we are living a very extreme life. That means we really literally live on the edge, like we are literally here. And we like to be there because it's nice, it's nice to be there because it's not crowded. I don't like crowded and big places. So I like to be places where there's nobody else or there is very few people. So because we live and we have chosen to live a life like that, our life is really uncertain, which is true for any of you. Because today could be the last day for any of us, right? All of you. Right now something could happen and we all could die here at this very moment. But you are not conscious about it because you feel that you live in a very safe zone. You are not doing anything risky. You are crossing the road properly. You are riding the metro. Everything is going to happen in the way it should happen. But how do you know? But because people like me or me personally, I live with this conscious fact that because of what I am doing, I am literally facing death every moment of my life. So what I did was instead of being scared of death, I made death my friend. Because you cannot live fully if you are scared of death, because death is a part of life. It's like the two sides of the same coin. You cannot have a coin only with head or only with tail because nobody will take that coin from you. So life has to have death. The day you are born, one thing you know for sure about yourself is that you are going to die one day. Nothing else is certain, right? Then why should we be scared of it? Make it your friend. Once it is on your side, you have nothing to fear. You can literally live 100%. You can go for your dreams, you can go for your aspirations, whatever. And that's the way I live. So I live with this reality with the full consciousness that this could be the last moment of my life. And because I have been into many accidents, I have been buried into many avalanches, I don't know how many bones of my body has been broken, I've got stitches all over. So these occasions happen so frequently because I make my life more and more challenging. Although I feel the most dangerous thing is to drive in Delhi for sure. I never drive in Delhi. It's terrible. It's the riskiest thing that you can do. Or perhaps take a flight, Never mind. So that's why I am literally conscious about it, that I could be dead any moment, and I really feel that I should not be alive because I have literally come out of life and death situations of so many times that all my friends around the world, what they do is they send me messages on 31st December or around that time that are you still alive? Because I have told everybody, look, if you don't see a blog post for more than 3 months, or if you don't see a status update in my so-called Facebook page for about 3 months, means I am not there anymore. So if they don't see me almost 3 months, like 84 days, and they really get worried, oh shit, maybe he's gone. So they will send me a message, please let us know that you are still alive. So I just feel this, I just feel that, I don't know, there must be a good purpose why life and destiny has still kept me alive, because it has happened so many times that same accident, same place, all my other friends have died, but I was rescued or I escaped.
So can you give us?
It has happened many times.
Can you give us a most recent example of, say, you being buried under an avalanche and being rescued?
Yes.
How does it feel like, Satya, when mountains of snow come, and how do you even survive that? Where is the oxygen coming from?
The only way you survive is the way you survive in a city like Delhi. You accept it. You accept that somebody is going to hit you on the road. You accept that it's polluted. You accept that metros will, whatever. By acceptance, there is nothing else you can do in life. You have to accept whatever is life offers you and then go for it. So my most recent, so-called life and death situation was in Afghanistan. In fact, I must share with you that I am the first and the only Indian so far who has been climbing in Afghanistan. Really serious peaks, because I think, nothing to clap about. It's not a big deal. But the only thing I feel people don't go because they are very scared. Because when I was first going to Afghanistan to climb, I really struggled to find a climbing partner from around the world because nobody would want to go to Afghanistan, knowing the situation. I wrote to the ambassador in Kabul and he said, like, are you crazy? Are you nuts? Where are you going? Because I'm not going to Kabul, I'm going somewhere else. He said, no. I don't even want to know that you are in Afghanistan, because I told him, sir, when I come to Afghanistan, I'll let you know. He said, no, don't even tell me that you are in Afghanistan, because there's nothing I can do about you. Seriously. Then I wrote to the military attaché, the colonel, and he said the same thing, because I am ex-military myself. He said, Satya, please, don't even think of coming to Afghanistan, especially to go climb, because I was going into very interior and remote areas, far away from Kabul. They said, we don't even want to know that you are here. I said, okay, fine. And the funny thing is that when I went to the Delhi embassy to apply for a visa, the ambassador here, a nice guy, he called me and said, like, Because I wrote, the purpose of going is climbing mountains. He said, mountains? Like, everybody goes to Kabul for, all these UN, because a lot of Indian military people are there. He said, no, I'm going to climb mountains. I said, then he said, are there even mountains in Afghanistan? I said, are you the ambassador of Afghanistan? Are you sure? Like, you really know your country? He said, of course. And I said, like, I'm really appalled and amazed at your ignorance about your own country. Then he really apologized. He said, I'm really sorry because I haven't gone back to my country for like more than 20 years. So I said, okay, now I understand, because he has just been ambassador all over the world. And of course, he gave me the visa right away. He also offered me some cup of tea and whatever. And he said, please, if you come back alive, please come back and show me the pictures of these mountains, because I want to know how the mountains look in Afghanistan. Anyways, long story short, it was a very long thing, escaping the Taliban. Of course, finally I was even caught by the Taliban, but they offered me tea actually. They said, fine, it's okay. But that's another story for another interview maybe. That's a very long one.
Sure.
But life and death situation. So we were climbing, me and two friends of mine, whom I literally blackmailed to come with me. Imagine, both women. So their husbands were really waiting for me to kill me if they found me. So we were climbing this mountain. It was of course a first ascent. Nobody had ever seen that mountain, almost 7,000 meter high peak. And during one of the climbs, so these two friends of mine, they had gone ahead. I was behind them. And we were crossing a big face of the mountain, which was full of ice and snow, whatever you call it. Everything was fine. I was maybe about 20 minutes behind them because I had a big backpack. I was carrying a lot of load. And that is the day we were planning to shift and camp higher and then go for the summit. When I was exactly at the center of this massive face of the mountain, I suddenly felt the whole ground was shaking, and there was a sound which was much louder than maybe 50 jet engines running at the same time. And I looked up and I saw this entire face dislodging from the top and coming towards me, and I'm right bang in the center of it. There is no place for me to run. Where will you run? You can't go anywhere, because it will bury me in less than 5 seconds. My friends were beyond the avalanche zone. They had already crossed it. They turned back, they saw me. I saw them, but we were not really in communication distance. But they looked at me, I looked at them, and I kind of waved at them. I said, okay, it was nice knowing you. And maybe I'm supposed to die in Afghanistan, and it's a wonderful place. Why not? I would hate to die in Delhi actually, really hate to die here. So I said, this is amazing. Nobody has ever been here. This is a new place, beautiful mountains, and this is perfect burial ground for me for sure. And then I just dropped my pack and I waited for the avalanche to hit me. So it hit me. It carried me up and down wherever. You can't fight with the waves of the ocean or with the avalanche. You just accept and go with the flow, as I say. So it took me up and down, whatever I did, some basic precautions to keep my lungs and my mouth clear of the snow. That is a normal thing. And then I got really nicely and properly buried in the avalanche. Really pressing my chest and my lungs like this. I could feel my breath running out every moment. But I told my heart to calm down, because if my heartbeat goes up, I'll be exhausting the air much faster. I knew maybe I have less than 15 minutes to live of oxygen available. Then I'll either be crushed by the weight or I'll suffocate to death, which is okay either, because how you die doesn't matter. You die, that's what matters, right? Methodology can vary, it doesn't matter. So anyways, as luck would have it, I survived. Because of my training, I know something called internal circulation, where you can last few minutes more, and of course my lung capacity is much better than all of you for sure, so I can hold my breath longer. And I think what really worked in my favor was that these two women friends of mine who are with me, they are among the finest climbers in the world today. So they had the right kind of experience and the knowledge and the expertise plus the equipment to get me out of that place. And plus they had seen exactly where I went in, because they kept watching my body as I was tumbling up and down, and as the whole thing was turning upside down. They knew exactly within 10 by 10 meters that this is where I was. If I was with anyone less than them, I would surely be dead, because they will not find my body. But I was lucky that they had this experience, and they were really, and I really trusted them. They found me out. I think it took close to 40 minutes. I had passed out. I had gone into a coma, but they got me out. They revived me, because we climbers know how to do these kind of things, how to revive dead people. So if somebody is dying, you can give me a call. We have these skills, because they are necessary. Finally, I came out. So they said, what do you want to do? I said, of course I want to climb. I mean, for sure now, definitely I want to climb. What the hell, So yeah, after 2 days we went up and we climbed the peak.
It's nice to be able to laugh today at something that happened a year and a half ago, Satya.
But I was laughing then also.
I'm sure you were.
Why should you cry about anything in life? You should always laugh.
I'm sure you were. But talking
Because
about
if you cry, it's not going to solve the situation.
Pleasure meeting you in person. First of all, Vaibhav Srivastava, welcome to All India Radio.
Thank you.
As you were telling all of us about the challenges in life and how important it is to just control your emotions. Now, I for a fact know, the whole world know that there was a mission in 2006, mission Dakshin Dhruv,
Yes.
which was about ski traversing on the South Pole.
You've done your homework. I can see that.
There was a mission in which you were the expedition leader.
Yes.
There was another mission in which you were the expedition leader, which was the Satyabrata West, which is the Himalayan peak, almost 21,000 feet, 20,909 to be exact. Well,
Yeah.
what exactly is the role of a leader when you go to such harsh conditions? How do you motivate your team to just take one more step when you're so damn tired, so damn exhausted, when you know that everything around you is just mountains or things which probably want to kill you? What do you do?
Mountain
as a
doesn't
leader?
want to kill you. We want to kill ourselves. Mountain
of
is
course.
mountain. वो कुछ नहीं कर रहा, वो तो खड़ा है वहाँ पे. He's not even telling that come and climb.
So-
We are going.
So as a leader, I mean, leaders of such big expeditions, because after the mission Dakshin Dhruv, Indian Navy was the only military to have done the ski traversing in South Pole.
Yes, of course. It was a good achievement for sure.
Exactly. So, what exactly is the role of a leader in such big expeditions? Please do tell us.
Okay, so your question is about leadership. Leadership
My
challenges
question is about leadership challenges and
in such extreme conditions.
such extreme conditions.
Okay, good. I'm happy you asked me this question because I have a module which I do with corporates globally, which is specifically like there are a lot of leadership, a lot of coaches who talk about leadership, a lot of workshops on leadership. But my thing is a bit different. I call it leadership under crisis. Because to me, leadership under any other condition doesn't make a sense. True leadership is when it is under crisis. Okay, when everything is falling apart, when your team cannot move on, when nothing is going according to your plan. How do you lead, or do you even lead? What do you do with the team? So it is leadership under crisis. And because the kind of life I lead, all my leadership roles are leadership in crisis. If not now, then tomorrow for sure. One of the days it will become a crisis. I think where most leaders fail in such places, because I have seen a lot of leaders really falling apart, is just two things. One is lack of confidence in yourself, because it's very easy to become a leader. It's very easy that if you are well qualified, somebody will make you a CEO of a company. Now, because of your position in your office, because you are cordoned off from the rest of the office, you can feel that I am God Almighty, right? Are you? People outside think that you are God Almighty because you can fire them from the job. Are you? Because you are not, right? So when the crisis hits, when everything is falling apart, you realize that actually I am not God. Then you start praying to God, God, please tell me something. But who is God? God is inside you. Okay. So I think there are two things which I have always followed. First is a belief in myself, and the second, which is even more important, is believe in your team. Because I think most leaders don't really believe in their team. That's why they delegate and they still keep checking back. And why they can't do that? First, perhaps they have not trained their team well. Perhaps they themselves are not qualified enough to train their team. And the third is they are too much bothered about the success. Okay, so this is called a success syndrome, which I call, which is actually leads to failure, because you want to succeed so much that you are panicking all the time and you are making mistakes. You are driving your team so much that they are actually going to make mistakes. But whereas I feel as a role of a leader is first to train them, of course, to know yourself what to train them with. And if you don't know, then please get your training somewhere else. Don't do it in front of the team, because then the team will say, what kind of leader we have? He himself doesn't know how to climb and he's training us how to climb. So kahin aur seekh ke aa jao, which is fine, which is okay, because we all are human. It's okay. But train the team really well through all kind of situations, including crisis. In fact, crisis would be the main part of the training, not that everything will be good, because I always tell my team everything is going to be bad, nothing is going to work with us actually. So I really drive them hard. Bad weather conditions, I always say that bad weather means good training. So I really push them into bad weather, really bad conditions. They will sleep without sleeping bags, will not have any tent, will dig into the snow, will fall, will injure. Todo, bones todo, koi farak nahi padta. It's okay, that's how we'll learn. Okay. So my first job is to train them, especially for crisis, so that they build their self-confidence, and then look into their eyes and tell them, you know what, I believe you. Believe me, when a leader tells you this and he really means it, there is no way you will fail him. No way. After that, I just sit and relax and have my tea and enjoy my life and travel the world. Because who am I without the team? Nothing. Leader is nothing without the team. All I have to do is bring the best out of you in my team. That's it. I don't even have to lead. Uske baad you all are leaders because everybody is a leader. And what do I gain out of it? Like I said, do everything for yourself. In the media it will be said, Satya led the team. Like Raj will interview me, not you. Anyway, that's jokes apart.
Next question.
Yes.
Sir, I'm Bhavya. I'm from Delhi only. And sir, it's, first of all, it's really nice to listen to you. So many expeditions, you have climbed so many mountains. So since we talked about lack of confidence, which such experience have been in which you have, you have really broken down, which has really broken down, except for exactly climbing inside the metro during rush hours?
Yeah, I'm like, today I was petrified.
Yeah. So which other experience which really, broke you down that, okay, I cannot do it anymore, or maybe I cannot just climb it?
Did you have any experience at all where you said, I can't do it?
No, I'll tell you my thing, that whenever I have not reached the top, let's say, if you are asking that specifically, which are the climbs of mine where I did not reach the summit and why? So the reasons have been few. Once, like I told you, when mountain told me don't come to the top, go. I left. Everything was fine, but I left. Or there was a major accident either to me or to my team, or somebody died or something happened. Didn't reach the top because of extremely bad weather condition. Let's say it's absolutely no go, impossible situation. I know that it's foolish and stupid to go into this because you can't see anything, and the risk factor is too high. That means the certainty of death is much more than certainty of being alive. And of course I am not stupid. I love my life. I want to be alive. Although I'm trying to kill myself all the time, but I still like to be alive. So I would call off the expedition. But if you ask me as a personal challenge, when none of these has happened, the weather is fine, the mountain is telling me to come, no accidents, have I ever reached a limit, a physical and mental limit of myself, saying no, I can't do it anymore? Then I have to tell you that no, it has never happened so far. And that's why I am doing more and more extreme things, because I really want to find out my limit. A day when I reach a place and a position or a point on somewhere on this planet, and I tell myself, this is enough for me, this is as far as I can climb, let's go back home. It has not happened.
I'm sure you remember another avalanche which you escaped by a day. And I'm speaking about the Mount Everest base camp.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Can you talk us through that escape of yours at base camp? What is it that helped you survive that avalanche that happened in base camp? I know you were not there.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
What made you leave base camp?
What Raj is referring to is last year's very famous incidents of earthquake and avalanche in Everest base camp, which killed a lot of people and injured lots and lots of people. And the whole expedition season was called up, nobody climbed. This happened in 2015. And I was there with my team, going for Everest. I was guiding, leading the team. Now what has happened with me, that spending my entire life with mountains and nature all over the world, I have developed a way of communicating with nature, which you might think is not alive, but to me, mountains, rivers, sky, clouds, forest, trees, they are very much alive, and because they are, really. If you have ears to listen, you can listen to them. So what I do is, whenever I go for any mountain in the world, the first thing is I go down and I look up and I ask the mountains permission that, can I come up? Are you okay if I come up? It's like asking a friend, like, can I come and visit you today? You just don't barge into somebody's house, no matter who he or she is. And I treat the mountains exactly like that, like my own family and friends. So I have to ask and take the permission first. And because I am always communicating with them in our silent way, I listen to what they say. So if they tell me to go back, I go back. If they tell me to go down, I go down. And there have been many instances in my life when I have come down almost from the summit, but I did not go to the summit because the mountain said, this is enough for you, now you go down. And my friends who are with me, they say, like, what happened? Because there's no more danger, there's no more, you just have to walk 10 minutes more and you'll summit. I said, no, you go. But mountain has told me to go down. There must be a good reason, because I don't question it. When they tell me, just go. So anyway, on Everest I have been many times. But last year when I was going, for the first time I felt that Everest was telling me very strongly that you go. Take all your friends, take your team and get out of this place. Everything was perfect. Perfect weather, perfect snow and ice condition. There were hundreds and hundreds of people getting ready for the hike or going for the climb. Many of the guides and leaders were very good friends of mine. But as I went closer and closer to the mountain, because you start the walking, it takes about 7 to 8 days to reach the base camp. The message was getting stronger and stronger from the mountain, telling me that, Satya, please, this is not the season, not this time, you have climbed enough, please go back, take everybody with you. And I said, oh come on, this is ridiculous, why am I even thinking like this? because it's a big money. I mean, my group, my clients had already invested huge amount of money in this climb. You can't just tell them that I have a bad feeling, let's go back. They're like, what bad feeling? Everything is perfect and everybody is going up. And I've never gone and come back from Everest like this ever. So I was challenging my own communication. I was asking myself that, am I making this up because I don't want to go, or is the mountain really telling me to go back? It was a big decision for me because I was not alone. I had a big team with me. I had to take all of them back with me. One day short of base camp, I could not sleep the whole night because the whole night Mount Everest was in my dreams, so in front of me saying that, what happened? Why are you still going up? You have to go back. I said, this is loud and clear. I woke up next day morning but I still wanted to reach the base camp because I said my team must reach base camp at least. But as I was going up, I was meeting other expedition leaders and guides on the way, and I was telling all of them, you know what, I'm going back. I'm not going to climb this mountain this year. I'm taking all my group back. You guys should also go back. And they all asked, why? What's wrong? I mean, this is perfect. This is absolutely. I said, I don't know, but the mountain is telling me to go back. So they all told me that finally, Satya, you have gone completely crazy and mad. You should give up climbing. Now you should go back home and raise a family. Like, incidentally, I don't have a family. I'm not married. So they said, maybe you should become normal now. Anyways, we reached the base camp. Believe me, when I reached the base camp and you see Everest right in front of you, I really felt like a slam on my face from the mountain like this, that really my friend, my dearest friend was really hitting me that go from here. And that's the time when I told my team, I said, look, we are cancelling this expedition, we are going back. And they said like, what? Unbelievable. I said, what? Are you serious? I said, yes. I said, why? I said, something bad is going to happen on this mountain very soon. We should get out of this place as soon as we can. We are not even going to spend one evening here at night. Just have lunch. Let's go down as soon as we can. But if some of you want to stay back, I can put you in somebody else's team and you can stay here. It's your decision, but because you trust me, you trust my gut feeling, we should go back. And I visited all the tents of my other friends, other expedition team leaders. I told so many people, so many Sherpas, team managers. I said, you guys, please just leave. Leave everything here, but you physically leave, start going down. And everybody thought that stark, raving, mad, crazy guys, being a prophet of doom or whatever. Because I told everybody that something is going to happen. Nobody believed me. Thankfully, my team did, except one girl who was from Australia. She said, no, Satya, I have invested so much money, I want to stay back. I said, yes, okay, I'll organize for you. She stayed back. Rest of the team walked back with me. In fact, in between, I got so panicky, I said, no, let's call a helicopter. So one of my friends who has a company, I called him, send a helicopter. Helicopter came, we left, literally. What happened next day early morning? Earthquake struck and the whole base camp was devastated. I lost 3 of my very close friends, including one of the girls, not the Australian, my client. She was okay, she got a bit injured, but she was okay. One of friend, it was her first expedition to the Himalaya. She had trained under me. She was a very sweet girl, she was a doctor, and she was one of the first victims to die. It was a devastating news for all of us, but that's what life is all about. But it just made me, reinforce my belief that I really do communicate with the mountains, and they really tell me, things.
That brings me to this question, Satya.
Yeah.
You've been to several peaks, you've been on several glaciers.
Yeah.
What do they tell you about how we treat them? I'm talking about climate change here. Mm-hmm. What do the mountains tell someone like you for you to come back and communicate with people, responsible people who are fighting climate change? What do they tell you, Satya?
Well, it is much bigger than climate change, actually. Incidentally, I do a lot of work with different universities around the world on glaciology and climate change studies. So I lead scientific expeditions to high latitude glaciers or high altitude glaciers around the world, also in polar regions, and trying to study the effect of climate change and global warming, man-made global warming. As you know, it's a very topical topic right now. It's a very hot topic. But what the mountains tell me is much bigger than this, much bigger than this climate change, and which I have been preaching about in a more idealistic manner, because perhaps it's not really possible, is to one day, especially with youngsters like you, and I talk in a lot of colleges, universities around the world, and I always say this, that are we going to live like this divided, or are we going to live like a race, like a species, humanity? Are we going to live as human beings, or are we going to live as either divided by religion or divided by caste and creed and color or nationality. How are you going to live? Because there is no way we can live isolated. There is no way. And climate change is only one of the instances which is telling us and proving us that just by changing the lifestyle or the behavior of one nation or one race or one caste or one religion is not going to save the planet. We all have to come together and join hands, because it's for all of us. The tipping balance which we talk about, it has already tipped. It is going to destroy all of us. It doesn't matter whether you are a Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Jew, Chinese or Japanese or American or Swedish or Swiss. No, it doesn't matter. I was, I didn't go for this Paris meet this time, but I was there before because I used to work for IPCC and at that time. And they were the global world leaders, G20, everybody there, and I was allowed to give 10 minutes of presentation because I was nobody there, not even a scientist. And there the biggest debate was what was happening. Our environment minister himself was there, and we were blaming each other, saying that why should India reduce the carbon footprint? Because what mountains and nature and the world has taught me, that if you just step out into the outer space, you will not find any countries. Will you? No, you will find a planet which is beautiful, which is blue, which is green, which is our home. Why should you say that I am Indian? Why can't you say I am a human being from the planet world? That's what I say. I always say I am a global citizen. Okay, I carry an Indian passport, but I am a global citizen. Tomorrow when something will happen, the natural ecological disasters will happen, the tsunamis, the floods, the glaciers breaking up all over the world, is it going to ask that, no, you are American, so I will leave you? What is this? Because God and nature did not create these boundaries. We created this. And look, I will give you a very good example, coming back to the mountains. You go anywhere in the world, just by looking at the mountain, can you say it is an American mountain or a Chinese mountain or an Indian mountain? Because mountains are mountains everywhere. It's the same. Ice and snow is white everywhere, the sky is blue everywhere, the ocean is same everywhere in the world. So this is my biggest learning from the nature, that we all anyway live in a world without boundaries, and my ideal utopian land which I would love to lead and generate and create one day is a world without boundaries. It is my ultimate impossible dream in my life, and I am sure I will never achieve it, but at least I can leave the seeds of the thoughts with the next generation that you will carry it forward. I can at least plant the seed whenever it gives the fruit.
Very intense, Satya. Let me lighten it up a little bit. Ask you, when you get on top of Mount Everest, what is it that you
Or
do?
any mountain.
What is Mount Everest? Because all of us understand Mount Everest a little bit easier than we do other mountains, because it's close to us, and for us it is the ultimate. What did you do when you first summited Mount Everest? I know you don't like the word conquered Everest.
Of course not. Nobody conquers anything.
Tell us why you never use the word conquer for a mountain, and tell us what you did on Mount Everest when you went the first time.
And for that, it's very important to climb the mountains, because only when you climb the mountain will you realize, who am I? Because you'll ask this question up there. So it should be otherwise, not who am I to somebody else, but ask yourself, who am I? In a different tone, not who am I, who am I? Be humble. And so to make this journey, you have to go and climb mountains or do something outside, because the answer is in the nature, not here. All you can say is that yes, I made a journey, I had fun, I enjoyed it, and that's it. So coming back to your question, when I reached the top of Mount Everest for the first time or again and again, there are always different emotions, of course, but the common emotions I can tell you. The first emotion is that, thank God, there is no more to climb. And oh my goodness, I am really exhausted and tired, it's really cold. And then the thought is, let's get the hell out of this place, because it's not a good place to be. Human beings are not supposed to be that high. You are exactly at the same height as the planes fly. So when you are standing on the summit of Everest, you will actually be seeing planes flying at your height, the ones who fly from Kathmandu to Lhasa. And some of these pilots, when they see people on the summit, they actually get the plane towards us. So you can see these people taking your picture from inside the plane, and you are looking at them and they are looking at you, and they are like, okay, this is pretty weird, So you know that you don't want to stay there for long. And there is a big lesson in it for our normal life also. That what do you do when you achieve something great in your life? What do you do? Do you just stay in that limelight and that warmth of that glory and success all your life? Or you say that because I have achieved this, why not achieve something bigger, something better? Because that's what prompts me to keep on climbing all my life, is not what I find on top of a mountain. Like somebody asked me once, a journalist like somewhere, that what do you find on the summit of the mountain? I said, on the summit of the mountain I don't find anything. But from the summit of the mountain, I find so many more summits that I still need to climb. And please apply this in your life, that whenever you reach a peak in your life, always remember that after a climb, you have to come down so that you can begin your next climb, because the next climb will be better. So don't just become stagnant, don't stay on the summit forever. I cannot, because if I stay on the summit for more than half an hour, I'll be dead. So maybe your situation is not that extreme, but don't stay there forever. In fact, achieving one dream in your life should prompt you to dream even bigger, even more, and go beyond. Because what we have to do ultimately is to create a world without boundaries. And that cannot happen if you keep standing on top of one mountain.
Satya, you spoke about learning lessons from mountains, not just from Everest, learning lessons from nature.
From nature.
What do you do with all those lessons, Satya? Do you share it with people around the world? I know you do deliver some TED talk, but how do you share your lessons that you've learned so that you leave the world a better place than you found it in?
Hopefully, I don't know. I'm trying. Well, I have a thing about how we live is, again learn from the mountains, is whatever we do in this world, you should always be very selfish. You should always do something only for yourself, like the way I do. You should never be selfless. Never ever, believe me, and I'll explain it to you why I'm saying this. Because the only way to live is for yourself. Whatever you do it for yourself. That means for your own satisfaction and happiness first. But if you forego your happiness and your satisfaction and try to be selfless and try to help somebody else, it is going to come back to you sooner or later. And you'll wonder, why did I help that person? He doesn't even recognize me anymore. I gave him so much money, but now he's run away without giving my money back. Why is this happening? Because you are doing it out of some expectation. Expectations come when you don't do something for yourself. But if I do something for myself, there is no expectations. There is no disappointment in life. So your act might benefit the society, which actually it should, ideally it should, benefit the rest of the world. But the reason for doing something is because I want to do it, because that makes me happy, that makes me feel alive, and that is my dream, that's what I want to do. So now coming back to the question.
Do you coach people, Satya?
Yes.
All the lessons that you learned from...
Going back to the same thing, that why did I talk about the selfish thing is, that I also feel that when you achieve something in life, some skill, some expertise, some experience, for yourself, it's a duty that we are bound to our own self, that I must share it with the rest of the world freely, openly, abundantly, rather than keeping it as a copyright or a this or that and hiding it. Because if you share with others, what will happen? The whole society is going to go up. If you don't share, what will happen? You will also not go anywhere, believe me. And I'll give you a very good example. There is a farmer in Idaho state. I don't remember his name now, but you can Google and find him. He has been winning this award of the best and the most productive farmer in the US for I don't know so many years. So everybody wanted to know that what is his secret? How come he is the most productive farmer in the state? Again and again and again, and nobody can beat him. So one journalist went him and asked him, and he's an old guy, said, what is your secret? He says, I have no secret, that is my secret. He said, no, come on, tell us. He said, you know what, I share all my fertilizers, my most healthy cattle and cows and fertilizers and seeds with all my neighbors. So what happens? The overall average level of that county is much higher than the rest of the nation. Along with that, he's also going up automatically. Just by helping others to rise, he's rising himself. It's like, you are being in a ship. There are a lot of people in that ship, and imagine our whole planet is like a ship. We all are there. So if you are the captain of the ship and you know where to navigate, you will take everybody with you, won't you? But you will still be the captain. People will still respect you. Nobody is not going to say, oh, come on, we don't need you because, now we know how to go. No, you are still the captain of the ship. So imagine your whole planet is like a ship. And if you have a specific skill, if you have a specific knowledge, be it in the field of science, architecture, music, whatever it is, please share it with the rest of the world. People will still respect you, believe me. People will still pay you a hell of a lot of money for your skills. Don't even think that if I give away my knowledge and experience, then nobody will ask me anything. No, come on. Why do people still, idolize Einstein, let's say? Einstein is still Einstein. Whereas, people know much more than theoretical relativity than him by now, I'm sure. Please give it back. So as I was climbing and I was learning these lessons, I figured this out at a pretty early stage of my life, that of course I'm doing it for myself, my enjoyment, my life, my passion, my dream. But all these amazing things that the mountains and the nature is teaching me, and I'm looking around the people, how they live in the society, what they do everywhere. I'm not criticizing or saying anything about Delhi or Indians per se. It's across the board that people live in fear, people live in greed and hatred and this boundaries of by religion, by caste, by creed, by gender, by all this sort of thing. And actually, what are we doing? So I realized that what am I good at? I'm good at climbing, and I'm good at talking and writing. These are my tools, these are my weapons. So I started writing, I started blogging, I started contributing articles, no more as a mountaineer, no more as technical, which I was doing anyway, sending technical journals or technical lectures all over the world. I changed my lane, I changed my track so that I could reach out to the general normal people who will never climb a mountain, who doesn't even want to climb a mountain, because it doesn't matter. Whatever we do in the mountains can be applied and followed in the normal life. So I started doing this, and now I give talks all over the world, and I coach people in living a better life, and I share it freely. Not always free, if somebody can afford, of course, but freely. Not free, but freely. And abundantly. Through my blog, through my lot of posts, I have 2 blogs. And through my Facebook page also I put some of my learnings, but I put some status along with my some climbing pictures. And I would like to believe that they do help people around, because my calendar of speaking around the world is really chock-a-block. It's very, a lot of people invite me to give a lot of talks, and I hope I'm making a difference somewhere. But what can I do? I can only try.
Satya, you made a difference to people's lives. You've kind of helped them realize their own possibilities by coaching corporates.
Yes.
I know you coach a few CEOs.
Yes.
Not just in India but around the world.
Yes.
You're able to make a difference, but this is at a one-to-one level. Do you do anything at a social level, where you spoke about some social projects that you do? Would you like to elaborate on some of those social projects?
Yeah, one is just by giving talks like this in different conferences or seminars, or just colleges, universities globally. But I also felt at a certain stage that I should be more hands-on, because I like action. I'm an action person, I don't like just talking. You have to act. So I found out a lot of different organizations, a lot of platforms around the world where I could represent them and work with them on really doing and changing the lifestyle of the people, especially of the people who are so-called underprivileged or who do not have the resources and avenues like us. So now I'm a kind of, you can call me a global ambassador for many such organizations around the world. Plus I have my own some social projects which I do in the Himalayan villages, and I call them my Himalayan village projects, where I see what they need, and it is more like specific target areas I look at, I raise funds, I raise awareness and get people and do something for them. Because you can really do a lot of things in life if you want to. So I'm just trying to do my best.
Satya, over the last 45 minutes or so, I figured that you are so much in control of your emotion, nearly all the time. Have you ever broken down? Have you ever had to feel bad at having to break bad news to somebody, or news to somebody, because news can be good or bad? Have you been overwhelmed at any point of time? Because you seem such a cool customer at the end of the day.
I would say that controlling of emotion actually becomes a challenge when you have lots of emotions within you. But I kind of trained, or I slowly I discarded almost all of my emotions as I grew up, climbed, learned more. So I think the only emotion that I have now is happiness and fun and laugh and smile. That's why I laugh and smile all the time. But I agree with you that there have been few challenging moments in my life when it was not for me. I was happy and content inside, but go to a family who have lost everything, and that person was with me, and maybe in a way I was responsible for that person's death. Those were really challenging moments, few in my life, where I had to go back to the families. I can specifically remember one. I'll not get into details because it's not a good one for the family, but as I say, life is life, and somebody has to go, they will go. And it's far better to go while you're living your dream than to be sitting and surrounded by your family, which is perhaps not your dream. So if you really have an aspiration, just go and live it. If you die, so what? You will die anyway one day. It doesn't really matter. And who cares? You care, right? So just go out there and live your dream. Nothing is impossible. And always laugh, always smile. Remember this word from me, okay? The only solution to anything in life is just smile. Even when you are feeling miserable, just smile.
And perhaps see you at the top?
And see you at the top, of course. That's my signature farewell line, see you on top. Because we all are climbers, you all are climbers.
I'm Dr. Tanushree Chavla.
You're a doctor, real doctor?
Yeah.
Real doctor?
Yeah, I've done my MD medicine.
मेरा BP थोड़ा high चल रहा है.
I just wanted to know what was your source of inspiration for taking up mountaineering and to go on with it even after all those near-earth experiences?
Inspiration was the mountain. I told you when I saw it at the 4 years of age, and I saw it and I thought that this was beyond human. That was inspiration. And my motivation to keep on going is exactly because of the reasons you said, that I should stop. Actually, it motivates me that abhi tak to main mara nahi, then I should actually keep doing it, In fact, it motivates rather than discouraging me. Please. Never mind.
there is a lot of, I am told that there is too much of mountaineering and there should be a moratorium mountaineering, because mountains, you told that you communicate with mountains,
Yes.
and mountain tell you things.
Absolutely.
So do they tell you that enough, please put on hold?
No, what you are talking about is specifically applies to few mountains, because there are few mountains in the world like Everest which has become, you know, kind of polluted in a way because too many people are going there. For those mountains, yes, I agree that these mountains should be closed off and shut off, and these mountains are telling me very strongly that, you know, just discourage people to come. But these are very few. These are only maybe 10, 12, 20, 30 mountains in the world. But how many mountains do you really think are there in the world? How many? Make a wild guess. Just make a wild guess. In the Himalaya, let's just in the Himalaya, how many glaciers do you think are there in the Himalaya? Make a wild guess.
Few thousand.
No, much more than that. I know because I have counted. Not counted, but in a way.
So 20,000.
You are quite close now. We have more than 22,000 glaciers only in the Himalaya. Only in the Himalayan range. Okay? Which is roughly 3,000 kilometers long. Roughly. About 250 kilometers wide, about 3,000 kilometers wide, long, which starts from Tibet, ends in Pakistan, of course. So, only in our Himalaya we have 22,000 glaciers. Imagine every glacier having an average of just 10 peaks. We are looking at 220,000 peaks only in Himalaya. Can you imagine how many peaks are there all over the world? Millions, I am sure. I have only climbed about 400 of them. Only about 20 or 30 of them are like this. But rest all are pristine. Nobody goes there. They are very difficult. वो कहते हैं ना, when you have to win the heart of a beautiful girl, you have to work harder. वो अब ऐसे आपको दिल नहीं दे देगी वो. Yes, look for the virgin one, look for the unexplored one, look for beyond the horizon. You know, that's what I do.
Thank you so much, Satya. It's been wonderful. Can we have a round of applause for Satya, please?
Thank you.
Thank you very
I
much.
enjoyed myself.
Thank you.